Hey there guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's episode, we're taking a step back to our no overhead adventure with a little twist. By completing a number of extremely difficult and perceivingly impossible PvM activities and quests. If you know me, you know that these are the challenges that I thrive in and keep me coming back to the game. And with the release of the new Valimor quests, it was the perfect opportunity to finally throw everything together that I've collected over the past year or so. With that being said, there may be some methods that have alternatives nowadays, although most of these strategies are so niche that it's all likely the same. Anyways, I hope you all enjoy today's video, so let's get right underway. To get started, one of the more difficult quests without prayer on an account without attack levels is Kingdom Divided. There are actually quite a few reasons for this, but to start us off with the first boss fight, the Judge of Yama, we greatly lack accuracy and must only use melee during the fight. And seeing we don't have overheads, I decided it would be worth it to trade hits until low HP and then run back to Starter's flame cycle to eat back up while not taking any unnecessary damage. In regards to specs, it's more or less imperative that we do at least hit 2 hammers to lower his defense as much as possible. Although if we do end up missing any specs, there's actually a save tile right at the back by the portal, which does come in handy seeing the boss doesn't even heal during the fight. Also in retrospect, you can actually do this with low HP without brute forcing, but by simply melee flinching Yama and then stepping back to start dodging his flame while his HP bar vanishes to restart the cycle. I don't really need to do that on this account, seeing I have high enough HP to simply brute force, though in some of the later fights that is certainly not the case. Moving on to the main predicament of the Kingdom Divided, Xamphur. This thing is immune to poison, venom, recoils, and vengeance, and to top all of that off, it even has freeze mechanics alongside a number of other specials that attack simultaneously. I also did this at a time where only a couple of people had completed it with these specific restrictions, so all of the information was found by trial and error. To add even more salt to the wound, obbies have a range and mage cap of level 67, and with the crazy goals that I have for my accounts, this doesn't leave us with too much room for failure. With only 2 attempts, I determined that we'd need Ruby Bolt's E with at least 2 or 3 early procs to continue the fight without wasting too much range XP. I also had a couple friends with pre-pots and heart boosts outside to replenish the inventory, giving us the best chance of success. Xamphur also has a stomp mechanic, and coupled without overheads, the grasp spell had an extremely high accuracy, which would then stack multiple hits every single tick. Meaning that we need at least a couple Phoenix in the inventory, and even then it may not be enough. We've also gone for the Dragon Knives for extra DPS when Xamphur's low HP, and for the Crawling Hand special attack to clear them as fast as possible. And finally, we've got the Debo special attack for a guaranteed hit alongside some G-Rest to heal while uninterrupted in combat. Xamphur ended up taking me 3 attempts, so fortunately we didn't waste too much XP during this ordeal. In retrospect, I could have dropped the Debo and switched it out for the Diamond Bolt E-switch to then ignore the defense with a high percentage chance of completion. Anyhow, this is one of the more integral quests that we needed to get done for the future of the account, and realistically the pivot point into further PvM activities with the unlock of Thralls. Thrall damage is calculated as your own damage, which will come in handy during some combat achievements, but most importantly the start of Beneath Cursed Sands. BCS on an account as restricted as mine was first brought to my attention by a couple of people with a lot of time on their hands and not a whole lot of brain power. These individuals had told me the quest was easy and simply required a bit of RNG, going as far as goading people into ruining their accounts through countless attempts while they watched on Discord for quote-unquote research purposes. I'd quickly come to the conclusion that they had been lying about the completion and had been stuck for quite some time. So I took it upon myself to both complete the quest and withhold the information for a year to see if they could figure it out themselves. And seeing you all have eyes on this video, it's clear as day that they've yet to complete said quest in spite of all of their efforts. One of these individuals is known in the community as an old debt staker that scammed his viewers while in 30 bill plus debt. And for those who are aware of who these guys are, I'm sure someone will drop their names in the comments section below. So yes, as petty as it is, at least these two idiots gave me the motivation to work on a video for all of you. The first boss that we have during Beneath Cursed Sands is the Head Menophyte Guard, where you can't use overheads, although you can kite the NPC around the rock with range, mage, or a halberd. In this case, I simply just brute forced with a little bit of food and the thralls, seeing I need all the range XP I could possibly have for the final boss, and actually even for the second boss. You could also just melee flinch the NPC if I just waited a little longer between hits, and I would have never taken any damage. This is where it all gets just that little bit more tricky. Even the fight to simply get into the room with the champion of Scabaras can be pretty rough without overheads, but thanks to the thralls, we can just eat our way through these with the help of recoils as well. In regards to the champion, this is where the level of complexity begins to increase, and where I start to enjoy the theory crafting for it. This was essentially uncharted territory, and where everyone beforehand seemed to have gotten stuck. So I decided to tackle this one a little bit differently and introduce the trusty Phoenix necklace. Fortunately for us, you can still utilize thralls during the fight, and seeing it has all other immunities plus 600 health, we're definitely going to need them. Scabaras is a level 379 with crazy high stats and 3 specials to go alongside its regular mage and melee attacks. Out of the 3 specials, the main ones that we need to worry about are the Shadow Rift and Shadow Burst that both deal over 40 damage if not dealt with correctly. In regards to the Rift, it'll explode if not dealt with as quickly as possible, and stalling any kind of DPS is out of the question, hence why we're relying on the Phoenix. I've also opted to utilize Guthix Restores to Tick Eat, which will help proc the Phoenix, though also the Rock Cake to put my HP into proc range if need be. Through a couple of attempts, the inventory changed ever so slightly, but the method itself remained the same nonetheless. So with all that said, let's take a look to see how it all unfolded. With just 3 attempts, we managed to take this one out with minimal range XP loss, and it's safe to say I was really happy with the outcome. We did run into a couple close calls there, especially with a terrible RNG on the Shadow Rift. Fortunately for us, the damage was nullified by the P-neck proc from the mage projectile at exactly the same time, otherwise this ordeal may have taken so much longer than anticipated. But if you thought that was difficult, this last fight is about to get 100 times harder, and these are the types of challenges in which we thrive. The Menophyte Ack has been coded to deal with pretty much everything you could think of. With his shadow, they'll resync and desync through teleportation specials to deal with prayer flicking and tick eating. Essentially, I had to test every kind of mechanic to simply give me some sort of edge or help with my longevity during the fight, so we got to work. As you can see, my first thought was to store raw food within the looting bag to then light a fire, destroy the looting bag, and cook them during the fight. And though we were on the right track, Jagex made sure to account for this by 1, not letting you light the fire, and also to delete all food related items when destroying the looting bag. So I delved even deeper and thought to myself I'd put together the raw ingredients of Guthix Restores and assemble them during the fight, which actually worked. Or so I thought. Due to the desert heat, when destroying the looting bag, the cups of water would evaporate. It's like they had thought of everything, but not quite everything. During my first attempt at the boss, I got together what I thought would be the optimal inventory alongside a looting bag with an item that I wanted to put to the test. And lo and behold, it actually worked, and could be used in conjunction with the boss fight. And now that we have the relative method revolving around enchanting diamond amulets into P-necks, we also had to enchant them while tick eating to proc the necks and dodging their specials. Unlike the Scarab champion, the Menophyte Ack has 180 range defense, as opposed to 0 for the champion, and we were literally out of food upon completion. Not only that, but he also attacks at a 4-tick cycle, with specials and immune to poison, venom, recoils, and thralls. Also, the Shadow has identical stats as the Ack, which means you're taking double the damage as before and at a faster rate. So not only do I need to react faster, I've also got to imbue the necklaces simultaneously. I can barely put into words how difficult this actually is, so why don't we let the clip display all the hard work and many attempts. It's time to truly showcase where meticulousness meets RNG, because we're going to need a lot of both. Bro, that was 56 Phoenix. 56. Holy. That was hands down one of the most difficult fights I've had in RuneScape. The APM was certainly not expected from a game like this, which is why I put pretty much the entire clip in here for all of you guys. This fight ended up taking around a week's worth of attempts and nearly an entire range level. From theory crafting the method until its completion, I had quite a lot of fun and the challenge was unreal. Following these clips, a year's worth of footage has passed from me playing on and off, so if you guys want more from this account's adventures, make sure to leave a comment down below. I'm still the only one who's managed to complete this to date with said restrictions, so if you're keen to have a go, the method's public now and I'd love to see if anyone can beat the record. It's definitely on the cards and doable, and I've been patiently working on a secret Iron Man obby alt that will complete this one day. If you guys enjoyed what you've seen here today, please do me a favor and drop me a like and a subscription. It really does go a long way. And if you guys are keen on some behind the scenes footage, the link to my Twitter is in the description. With all that said, I hope today's video was satisfactory, and if you think so, you deserve to have a lovely day.